Hello, my name is Glenn Dyer, and you are watching a Dyer-Situation. Today I'm seeing Lights Out, the latest... Well, it's not Blumhouse. That's the good part. But it is a horror movie, and it's from the guys who made The Conjuring 2 and Annabelle, but not The Conjuring 1. So yeah. That alone is a pretty bad sign, but... I don't know. I have no idea what the plot of this movie is about. So the fact that it's not Blumhouse means it probably has a chance, at least a small one. I guess we'll have to see. So I realized while I was watching this that it looked really familiar to me. Just the general style of it and all that. So I decided to look it up when I got home here, and what I found is that it was based on a short film, like one that was released on the internet. And believe it or not, back in 2013, when that short was released, I saw it on Facebook, I think. Somebody posted a link to it, and I decided to check it out, because I've been a horror movie buff forever, especially back in 2013, of course. So I checked it out when back in the day, and I remember sitting there and watching it and going, "Oh, kids." That was literally my thought. Just, well, if you don't know, basically the whole thing is that, with the short at least, is that this lady is laying in her bed, and then she hears noises, so she goes up and sees someone in the passageway. Oh no, turns on the light, person's gone. And, it's one of those things where there's some sort of monster that's living in the shadows. And I just remember thinking, it wasn't very scary. It wasn't very interesting. It's incredibly basic, and I didn't think much of it at all. And so, of course, the company that made The Conjuring 2 decided to pick it up. God, these people. You know what's a really bad sign? And I mean a really bad sign for your movie, for your horror film, is when, during the opening scene, the one that sets the tone of the movie, everyone is cracking up laughing. Multiple times. Like, there's a scene where the lady, of course, she's heading into the dark room and stuff, and it's in a mannequin factory, because of course it is. She goes into, like, this dark room. She sees the lady, so he turns on the light, and the lady disappears. Like, oh, okay. And then she turns it off, and she's still there, like standing pretty far away by a doorway, and she turns the light on again, and she disappears. So I'm thinking, okay, so she's gonna turn it off, and the lady's going, and the creepy thing is gonna be like right in front of her, right? Like, Blumhouse does this 28 times a minute. So I was like, yeah, okay, that's what's gonna happen. She proceeds to do this, turning light on and off, like 10 times. And then, like, suddenly, she's, like, a foot closer, and the lady goes, "Oh!" And she, like, scuttles away. The lady, like, "Oh, no!" And she goes over to her boss, who's like, "Boss, I saw something." He's like, "What?" There was this thing, but it disappeared." She said, "Just go home." Everyone cracked up at that. And why wouldn't you? Everyone cracked up when the light switching scene went on for way too long. Like, that is honestly a comedy technique. Just having someone doing the same thing for way longer than they should. And having really cheesy dialogue like that. Like, "Now just go home. You're tired." And her not telling him, like, "Hey, I saw this spooky figure that disappears when I turn on the light." Instead she's like, "Be safe." And then she just leaves. And then the guy, like, he goes out into his factory and he experiences a similar thing, right? And, like, he sees the spooky figure, and then when he realizes what's going on, and he realizes that the lights in his area, they're motion sensors, when he realizes that they're probably going to turn off in a minute, he's like, "Oh, hell no," and just runs away. Why include a line like that? That is a funny line. That is what stupid comedies use as a line for... I'm sure Ghostbusters has said that word like several times. That's not scary. And that's the main problem of this movie. It is not scary. At no point in the movie is it actually scary. It's funny, it's action-packed at times, but it is never scary. Even Blumhouse is at least able to create a jump scare. The lowest form of horror, but it is able to create one in order to temporarily make you think you have been scared. And this movie tries to do jump scares and is completely unable to. It's just like The Conjuring 2 in that respect. Unbelievable. Totally different director as well, but somehow a lot of the same mistakes. I don't know what it is. But you know what? I would honestly, really, really like to see this company overtake Blumhouse. Like, by a lot. I mean, this movie was fun to watch. The ending's shit, but the rest of it, like, it was funny, it was entertaining on many levels. And, like, I wouldn't mind seeing more stuff like it. Unlike Blumhouse, which feels like the same boring crap that was boring to begin with a while ago. So, there's that. As you're wondering, basically, and yeah, the ending is really, like, to me, the biggest downfall of this, because it is not in the least bit satisfying, either humor-wise, or horror-wise, or, hell, character-wise. Because the whole plot is resolved by someone who isn't the main character, which is a major screenwriting flaw. It's not a Deus Ex. It's what's known as a non-protagonist resolver, which is just as bad. And it's just a very convoluted type of thing. And yeah, but that ending is just makes you go, well, okay. That happened. I guess it's all over now. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, look, it doesn't happen too often, but this was one of those endings where you feel like going, that was it? just because of how it works. So yeah. This movie is stupid. Don't watch it. I know I said I'd like to see, like, this company overtake Blumhouse, but that doesn't mean I'm going to endorse a bad movie just because I want to see Blumhouse go down the tubes. This movie sucks. It's not a good horror movie, and even though I did laugh, I can't recommend it as a funny bad movie either. Just because I think the humor is pretty subjective more than anything else. I think you will either find this movie funny or boring, but not scary. I don't care how squeamish you are, this is not a scary movie. At all. So until next time, I'm Glenn Dyer, and you are watching a Dyer-Situation.